Welcome to our channel. We're the sisters, and I'm Motley.
I'm Berlinda, the cute one.
You're so funny.
So today, we're going to discuss how my sister found out that her son had autism. You were probably wondering how or when this happened. So today, that will be our discussion. We're gonna talk about that further.
So don't forget to please subscribe to our channel. Please like us.
Yes.
And just as a disclaimer, I like to remind everyone that we're not doctors.
We're not therapists.
I'm a mom with a child with autism, and I'd like to share my journey with you. And in sharing my journey, and my hope is that I can help others. So you may wonder, how did I discover that my child had autism? Well, first of all, the day that I had my child, that is the most loving and memorable day of my life. I will never forget that day. It was my first time being a mom, and it was so joyful. And when you have a child, you start to bond with that child. You start to grow with your child, and you get to, learn about them. And as I started to learn more and more about my son, I realized there were some milestones that he was not reaching. At the time, I have another sister. By the way, we have another sister.
Because remember in our last video, I did discuss that I had two nieces who created the illustrations for the book that we wrote together.
Yes. And that sister, she has two children. And the last one is actually the same age as my son. And so what I was doing as a first-time mom, what I was comparing, my niece to my son. Now, I want you to understand, I don't like to compare children. I wasn't comparing their abilities or things like that. I was just looking at, certain milestones that she reached, and it made me wonder, why is it that my son wasn't, reaching, that milestone? Let me give you an example. For example, my son was not sitting up. And that was a big concern for me. And I was like, why isn't he sitting up? And so what I did was I went to the doctor, and I explained to the doctor that I was concerned that my son was not sitting up. And you know what the doctor told me? The doctor told me, teach him. So what did I do?
She did, and believe me, she ran with it.
Yes.
She really taught.
I taught him to sit up. Mm-hmm. And another example was my son was not putting things in his mouth. So he was not going through the oral stage. You may think, okay, well, so what? Well, the oral stage is really important because that's when they discover all about their, surroundings.
Experimenting.
Yes, experimenting. Another example of milestones that he wasn't reaching, he did not crawl. That was another big concern. So again, what do you think I did? I went to the doctor, and I explained to the doctor that I was concerned because my son was not crawling. And again, I was dismissed, and I was told it's okay.
But most boys are delayed.
Yes, that's what I was told. Them, it's okay. He's a boy, and boys are a little bit, delayed. Mm-hmm. And then I went back again because I was really concerned about him not crawling. And finally, at 10 months, the doctor sent me to a specialist, and he was evaluated. Now, I want you to understand that at 10 months, it's really difficult to evaluate a child because they really, you really have to watch them to try to figure out what's wrong. So he wasn't diagnosed with anything, but they simply noticed that, the gross motors, that he was not be able to stand or crawl on his own. So then I was sent to a specialist, and that's when basically, he was given physical therapy, and my son after that walked when he was 24 months old. So, and then eventually I would say about a year later, my son got sick. And so he had a little virus.
Right.
So I took him to the ER. When we got to the ER, the doctor was asking my son questions, to see, what he was feeling. He was trying to understand exactly what was wrong. My son was not able to express his feelings. He was not able to tell the doctor what was wrong. Now, I want you to understand, my son was 3 years old, and he was not saying mama or dada. He didn't call his dad. He didn't call his mom. He was not able to speak. He would have frustrations because he was not able to express himself. The doctor, the ER doctor that is, was so concerned that he told me I needed to go back to my primary doctor and explain everything. When I went to my primary doctor sent me to the school district. And the school district assessed my son. I want you to understand there was a panel of people assessing him. And it was a long process. It took 3 days to assess what's wrong. And eventually, my son was diagnosed with autism. And I want to tell you, I cried because even though I knew that something was wrong, I cried because I just didn't know what I was going to do, to ensure that he's successful. So eventually, I took the diagnosis and I went back to my primary. And then my primary referred me to a neurologist, and then the neurologist assessed and diagnosed my son with ASD, which stands for Autism Spectrum Disorder. And you may wonder, what's next? I want to tell you that there's hope.
Yes.
First of all, I have hope in my God. And second of all, I want to tell you that there are so many services out there to ensure that your child thrives. So early intervention is key to your child thriving.
And as my sister stated previously, she always felt like something was wrong. I'm not a mother, but I could put myself in her shoes. So as a mother, you have that mother intuition where you can kind of feel something's not right. If you do feel that way, it's, check it out, because like my sister stated, early intervention is key. And also having a support system, because I remember when she first found out, all I can do was just hug her and support her and be there for her, because it really does take a village.
Yes, it does.
To raise a child with autism, to raise with a child with special needs. And when we wrote our book, we emphasized that, all the different people that had to be involved to take care of my nephew. So, basically that's why we wrote the book, because we wanted to show our journey. So please, again, support us by purchasing the book. If you click on the link below, we really appreciate your support. And please also, if you have any topics that you would like to discuss, feel free to put your comments in, and we'll be more than happy to share our journey and let you know how we have dealt with any of these topics.
And once again, don't forget to subscribe and like to our channel. And please tune in next time. Thank you.
Have a good
Bye.
day.